Hello. You're listening to Cracking, Episode 1. A 3-part audio drama about mental health and fatherhood. After each episode, we chat to a peer support worker in the field about the topics raised within. Some listeners may find the following difficult to listen to due to themes of postnatal mental health problems.
I'm no good. I want my old life back. I could do this. Please don't leave me. I'm running to the new, running to the old. I'm running and it's dark. I'm running from the street lights. You don't deserve to leave. Over my running from him, over from them, running faster and faster. Running, my heart pounds from the pressure, from the expectation. My breathing erratic from fear of failure. Running from the man who loves me, that smothers me, who's after me, stifles me. Keep running to the old me, keep faster. I wish it could be running from the crying, from the love. Running, keep running until it crumbles, it burns out, it dies, it stops.
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't the perfect partner to somebody who's depressed. There were times where I would just say stupid things, like, come on, you have to tell me this tea's nice. I've just cooked this tea, it's really nice. What do you think? And she'd be...
Don't care.
I'd be in there in the kitchen like Gordon Ramsay, tasting it. Oh, this is really good. This is the best shepherd's pie you've ever tasted, Rach. What do you think? And she'd be...
I can't taste it.
And I'm like, yeah, but it's really good though, isn't it? It's really good.
When are you going to get it into your head? I don't want any food. I can't taste anything.
And I'm like, fuck's sake. And I go and watch TV.
Where are you going?
Tommy wakes up and starts crying, so I say to him, oh, this is yummy. Yes, it is. This is yummy shepherd's pie. Oh, do you want some? Oh, you want some of Daddy's special shepherd's pie, do you? Yeah? Well, we're going to have to wait until you're a little bit bigger. Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Don't leave me.
Well, where do you want us to start?
Wherever you want to start.
I don't really know. Sam, what do you think? Or should I start? Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Should we start at the beginning? Sam?
We had a baby?
No, before then. When we met.
Yeah.
Well, we've known each other a long time. We were in college together doing A-levels, and we didn't know each other to say hello to in the street, but we were in the same English class at college, and then we bumped into each other in London, and I remembered his name, but he couldn't remember mine. Classic. Absolute classic, Sam.
Clapham Junction.
You had your headphones in.
Oh, yeah. You were there with Pip.
Oh, Sam had gone out with Pip.
Not for long.
Before we started dating, she was a mutual friend. It's funny, really. We both met Pip in London, but we didn't know that she knew both of us. So, well, things went from there, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we've been happy, haven't we?
We've got Tommy, and he's just...
I was ill after Thomas was born.
Yeah, you're better now. You've gone back to work. And
Yeah, I know.
it's been a tough year, but we're coming through it.
Sam thinks I'm being silly, raking over the past.
Is that what you think, Sam?
Well, there's nothing she likes better than when she's got something to worry about.
Well, don't you think the future of our relationship is something to worry about?
Come on, that's a bit over the top.
Is it?
Well, things aren't that bad.
Well, why did you agree to come with me?
Because I thought we could go to the pub on the way home.
Why are you here?
Well, because you thought it would help.
Sam likes to think he's a new man.
Just try and lighten the mood, Rach. I mean, it's not like it's a big deal. Tommy's absolutely fine. Ooh, this is good. Yeah. Mummy doesn't know what she's missing. It's good. Yes, it is. It's really, really good.
You won't leave me, will you?
Yes, it is. And just you wait. And we won't let Mummy cook it. No, we won't. No.
I can't do this.
Look. Look at how beautiful he is. We made him.
I don't deserve you.
I only took him to the park and made him tea.
I wouldn't blame you.
Rach.
Sorry.
Besides, who's gonna do all the cooking around here, eh?
I'm sorry that I can't
Look,
be
it's
happy.
not your fault.
Promise me it'll get better.
You should eat something. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit tricky at first, sort of balancing going to work and then coming home and looking after both of them.
Obviously, I would have helped if I could.
Yeah, I know, that's...
But it seems like you're making me feel like I was upstairs on purpose. Like I wasn't coming down to help with Thomas.
No, I mean, like, logistically, actually doing the travel to work. But do you see what I mean? It was more travel-wise, like going.
Okay. I came home one night and he just said he was going to shave it. Shave it all off.
Ooh, as
your
in
hair, not anything else, just your hair.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
I think once we found out it was postnatal depression, that was definitely a landmark for us to start moving on from. But it was definitely...
I guess, well, then it was about recovery and getting on the right medication. And, well, Thomas is nearly 2 now. And I feel good. And we're good. Yeah, we're good. Well, we're good, aren't we?
I mean, I didn't know what I was going to come home to sometimes. Nothing like what she used to be like. I mean...
What was she like?
Anything she put her mind to, she just went for it. One time I was doing the cooking and she was like...
Okay, if you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
And I'm like... Eastbourne?
Oh, come on, anywhere in the world.
Vegas?
Oh, okay, Vegas, let's go.
And I'm like, seriously? And she's like...
Yeah, why not? What's stopping us?
Money?
Oh, come on, it's only money.
And then I come home from work the next day and she's all...
Ta-da! Well, I booked it.
Well, but what?
The holiday.
Really?
Yeah, 2 tickets to Las Vegas.
She was great with kids, I mean, that was her job, so when that stuff happened, it was just a bit of a shock.
I always have this feeling like he's watching me.
Do you want to tell Sam about it?
Like, I sometimes think that you don't trust me with Thomas.
That's ridiculous.
You make me feel like everything's my fault, like I caused all of this upset and now you're punishing me.
How am I punishing you?
You know how.
Well, no, I don't.
You still don't think I'm better, do you?
It's not true.
Well, then what is it? Well, why don't we have sex anymore?
Hang on, why are you having a go at me?
I'm not. I just thought once I got better, we would get back to how we were.
Yeah, but you're kind of dumping all of this on
I'm
me.
trying to be honest.
So it's my fault.
After what we've been through, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to. I thought some terrible things. I wanted to get Thomas adopted.
I would stay outside all day with him, but then even that wasn't right because she'd be ringing me up, saying, "Where are you?"
All I could see in my head was him drowning in a
yeah,
river.
but I wasn't going to let anything bad happen to him, was I?
But all I could think was he's going to die.
Yeah, but he's my little boy as well.
Yeah, but I didn't want you to take him out.
Well, you didn't want to be with him.
You don't have to keep reminding me.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
No, it's not what you say. It's how you look at me.
How I look at you.
Like I can't do anything right.
You're making this up.
Like I caused all of this upset.
Wait. I'm looking at you like you can't do anything right.
You don't trust me with Thomas. You undermine my
I can't
decisions.
believe I'm
I
hearing
want us to be
this.
close again. Well, that is why we're here, isn't it? Well, you want that too, don't you?
I thought we were close.
Cracking is an All Right Mate production written by Callie Hayes and directed by Kevin Johnson. Rachel was played by Georgia Robinson and Sam by Tom Bowdler. Cracking was edited by Hugh McCann. This audio production was made with support from DadPad, the essential guide for new dads. Find out more about DadPad at thedadpad.co.uk. Find out more about All Right Mate at allrightmateproject.com. We are now joined by Kieran Anders and Nick Samuel from Dad's Matter to discuss this episode.
So I just want to start off with the first question, really. What do you think was going on for Sam in the piece that you were listening to?
So for Sam in the one that we listened to in the first one, I think he was very much avoiding thinking about the things that were affecting him, and he was relying on his partner quite a lot in terms of relaying information to him from professionals and also to professionals about him, and he was using that as a way of distracting himself. It felt like a little bit the way he was. He seemed shocked when she said things to him, and he hadn't really noticed what was going on in the relationship. So I think there was quite a lot of avoidance in the way he was speaking.
Yeah, I also wondered if he was unsure of how to respond because he'd obviously not been in this situation in terms of not getting out on any of that kind of professional help or even just any kind of help. That he was unsure of how to respond to kind of what was going on, and I suppose that there was times when he thinks he knows what his partner wanted, but then he was confused because he was taking his baby out or his son out, and then she was ringing him up and asking him, "Oh, is he safe? Where are you going to come back?" And so I wonder if he just didn't understand fully what was going on with his partner and that, but also like Kieran says, just with all that, just wanted to kind of bury his head in the sand and kind of think, you know, it'll probably get better, or this is just a phase, it'll just pass kind of thing, and not kind of appreciating or understanding the severity of it.
I think there's definitely a feeling that, so he's avoiding a lot of stuff, but also he's trying to look for practical solutions really, really soon. And when he's implementing those solutions, like taking the baby out to give his partner space, he's not necessarily thought through all of the implications about how she's going to feel. He's not really talked to her about what she wanted at that point. He's just doing what he thinks will fix it. I think a lot of men do that. I think there's a part of it where he uses the baby as a bit of a distraction too. When mum's struggling, he's talking to baby. And for me, it didn't quite feel like he was trying to make sure baby was okay at that point. It felt more like he was trying to not deal with mum. And sometimes I think with dads, especially ones that we work with, and definitely my experience, you want to make sure that they're both okay, but sometimes you feel that mums should be able to do it without us having to kind of be there. Being a buffer for the baby is really important, but it can be a distraction from actually supporting your partner. I felt that, especially early on in the piece, he was ignoring his partner so that he could talk to the baby. And I think if I was talking to him about it, I would want to explore that a little bit more as to whether that was supporting the baby more or trying to avoid supporting his partner because it was difficult.
You think there was a bit of trying to feel confident in himself as well, because he made a meal, didn't he, for his partner, and she obviously didn't want it, and then he was talking about, you know, him having it when it tastes nice and things like that, and obviously trying to give it to his son. So maybe, I don't know if there's a bit part of that was going on in himself, and he wasn't sure kind of how confident he was in what he was doing and being a dad maybe, and so trying to maybe convince himself is that what he was doing is good as well, you know, in what he was doing. So yeah,
I think there is a little bit of that sort of self-esteem, building your own confidence when you have babies, and I don't think that's just for dads, I think that's mums as well, but suddenly dads do find themselves doing things that they'd not thought about doing before. When you have babies, you don't think about all the things that you're going to need to do with a baby. I think sometimes we assume that because mums have thought about that they're better at it, but that's not necessarily the case. So we do look for affirmation. I remember when my baby was a little, looking to my partner when I was changing nappies and really wanting a pat on the back for doing it, because I felt at the time she knew more than I did. I obviously know that isn't true now, and I know that we were both learning, we were both finding out at the same time, but actually being told by your partner who you think's already really natural at it, I think is something we do as men, yeah.
And how common is it, do you think, for men to not recognise they're struggling with their mental health during this time, during, you know, the pregnancy and after the baby's born?
I don't think it's common that they don't recognise it. I think they do recognise it but ignore it. I think that's the key issue, that we're very good at putting it in a box, putting it away and doing practical things to distract ourselves from it. And we can work on all of those practical elements, and sometimes we focus on them as being the cause of how we're feeling. But that's no good, because it will build up and eventually will come out of the box, and then we have to deal with it. We need to be able to recognise it and acknowledge it earlier, so that we can put those practical things in place that will help rather than trying to distract from it. But yeah, I absolutely think that it's not necessarily that we don't acknowledge it. We know it's there. We just put it away and forget about it and distract ourselves from it by looking after the people around us very often.
I think there's a case of using the term man up as well, isn't it? Of like, I've got to be that support. I've got to be that kind of that person who has got it all together. You know, I'm trying to go out to work and I'm doing what I need to do, and I've got to show at work that there's no weakness, because if they tell me to take time off, I might not get paid and all this type of stuff. And so I think, yeah, like Kim was saying, they know it's there, but it's like it's in a box, it's compartmentalized somewhere, and it will just build up and build up. And then, you know, and I suppose even when there's other people who might talk to them about it, you know, that they're like friends at work and stuff, again, it might just be ignored just because the other issues are much bigger than what, or they feel the other issues are much bigger than what their kind of mental health is.
I mean, what are the reasons for men not asking for help? I mean, you've talked about the sort of work issue. Are there other reasons in your experience of working with men why they don't reach out for help, even though they're acknowledging they're struggling?
Well, I mean, one of the big things that we find is they don't know to ask. So one of the things that we find is that a lot of the guys that we speak to aren't aware that they can speak to the health visitor, that the health visitor is there for the whole family unit. And it might be that the dad just thinks it's there for mum and baby. Maybe because that's the only going visit when mum and baby's there, or they don't ask where dad is, or it might just be that traditionally, or that's what they're used to, or that's what they're used to seeing, and so they don't know where to go. But also there might be a little bit of pride as well, I think, and they're just too stubborn, like, you know, they don't want to show any kind of sign of weakness to their partner or to other people around them. And maybe, like we were saying before, they want to make sure that everybody else is okay before they are as well. I think they're just some of the reasons that I thought of when I was thinking about this.
I think that, yeah, you're right, definitely. We don't know who to talk to. We don't know where we can talk about it, and get it, and having that allowance or permission, if you like, to approach services is a big key factor in why men don't. And what we tend to find is that because it's away in a box and they can ignore it and do the practical things that make them feel okay or able to distract themselves, they'll wait and wait until they're in crisis. And then when you're in crisis, your options are much more limited. And most men that we ask will say that they'll go to the GP if they were struggling. But when you ask them again, they usually will be like, actually, I probably wouldn't even go to the GP unless I really, really needed to. When they're given the opportunity to engage other organisations like Dad Matters or like Andy's Man Club or Directions for Men or one of the plethora of men's talking groups out there, having the platform to talk means they will talk. Dads aren't against talking about what's going on. They might talk about it in a slightly different way to the way therapeutic groups would be run, but it's all really helpful. It's just knowing that those groups are there and what they're there for, and then having that support to get to those groups and find out that it is worth them going to and that it will improve their situation.
So when you're working with men and they're acknowledging that they're struggling, but they don't really want to do anything about it, I'm just thinking, how do you get men to work with you? What's your way of, what can they expect when they meet you for the first time?
We're all dads. We've all got similar experiences. Peer support is a massive part of how we work. We work alongside other peer support organisations, so dads find out about us through lots of different means, and they see our logo, our branding at every point in the journey, so they know there's an integrated dad's service in our area, and that we're a part of all of the services that are around mum, but we're just for them. It feels like they get permission from us to access all those other services. But I think the main reason why we're a bit more successful is that the language that we use has been really well thought out. All the content and information is the clinical stuff that mums get from health visitors, from perinatal mental health services, from parent-infant services, but we're doing it in a dad way, in a man-friendly way. Everything was done in conjunction with men, so the branding and the language and the resources are all designed by dads. And I think all of that gives it a little bit of kudos for men. When they see it, they relate to it. What we try and do is see them before they need help, so that they can relate to the Dad Matters brand, if you like, and the resources and content. And if they are struggling, and as soon as they acknowledge it, we're the place that they think of. And we've got all of those resources and signposting, staff members, peer support to support them at that point. And I think that's important, because when men acknowledge it, if they can't do something about it straight away, they're going to put it back in the box, and they really need to do something about it straight away, not wait. So they need the information really early. I think that's one of our key messages.
Yeah, I suppose when I've recently been working in hospitals, so obviously dads haven't been able to go, into a number of different kind of appointments during the kind of journey, and chatting to them there kind of about that and kind of how that might affect their kind of bond with their baby and things like that. And so we talk about, obviously, that they might not be able to go into to that key moment of like a 20-week scan or something, but there's all these other things that they're able to do throughout, the pregnancy. And I think just chatting to them about that and kind of, getting them to think about all these other things that they can do, that although they're missing out on maybe a real key part of the kind of pregnancy journey, there's all these other kind of things that they can do to enable them to still feel a part of what is happening, over the next kind of few months for them as well. So yeah,
I think that's a really important point actually. When the way we engage dads isn't through how they're feeling. We don't go straight to that question. We talk about attachment and bonding because it's important to dads. They really want to know about their baby's development and about how their relationship with the baby builds and how what's going on for them affects their baby. So we lead into it with a motivating factor like, this will help your baby's development, this will help your partner's mental health, because they're the really important factors for dads in those early days. And we talk about those really early on. And we lead that into, but if you're struggling with your mental health, it might affect these relationships, but there's things you can do. It's okay to be struggling. And if you talk to somebody about it and you talk to some of the services that are around, you can get support to make sure your baby isn't affected. And I think that's a really strong message. And we get from the groups that we run online at the moment with our dads antenatally, that by far the biggest piece of information they get from there is around their bond with the baby and the attachment the baby has. They really appreciate that and how it works and how to build it. So that always leads us in to the talks around how they're feeling and their own well-being. So yeah, part of the piece where Sam was talking, something that I noticed was that obviously he's relying on the baby as like a distraction or to take him away from the issues that he's struggling with. But he's obviously worried about his partner and whether she's actually going to get better. And even though it was 2 years ago and she is better, he's still worried that it's going to happen again or that she's going to go back that way. We get that a lot with the dads that we work with, particularly the ones who've got partners on mother and baby units or working with perinatal teams. Dads are really worried that their partners aren't going to go back to how they were before. And sometimes that can affect the relationship because dads treat the mums differently. And I think that was really a really key point in the piece. And because he's worried about it, he's looking at all the practical stuff he can do to help her, but she doesn't want that. And he's not asked her what she wanted or what she needs. And they've not really talked as a couple to be able to figure that out. I think it's really important that we understand that that's one of the things that men are worried about is the partner's getting better, but they're never really going to talk to the partners about that. They don't want to make the partners worse by broaching that subject.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Thank you both so much.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed. If you have been affected by any of the content raised in this episode, you can find a list of support that we have created on our website at www.allrightmateproject.com/find-support.